Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, ladies from Romania. All right. How's everyone doing? Oh, that was a quiet response. At least give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Come on.
Doing great. We missed you.
Oh, thanks, Tracy. Missed you too. All right. Okay, so we're going to start today with the meditation we did in last class. So you guys can get another download of it. So get yourself ready for meditation. Okay. Softening your eyes. Making last adjustments to your body so you can sit for 15 or 20 minutes. Notice the sensations of your breath in your body as you exhale and then inhale. And let's begin counting our breath. Beginning with the exhalation and then inhalation as 1. And we're going to do something a little different this time. We're going to take about 50 to 75 breaths as a way to bring our bodies and minds into meditation. And now you see yourself laying in a bed, perhaps on your right side. And you're surrounded by the people you love. And you know that this is the end of this life for you. Everyone has gathered to say their last goodbye. There's no more pretending. Death is now certain. And as you feel your breath getting more and more shallow, you know that you have your Dharma practice. You know that you've spent your life well. You've taken care of others. And a sense of calm and relax covers your entire body and mind. Your eyes close. The sounds in the room begin to fade away. And in that calm quiet, you see yourself looking over a desert plain, and you see a mirage in the distance. And you begin moving towards it. And that vision of the mirage begins to fade. And there appears a light fog, light smoke around you. You're calm and relaxed, moving through a mist. And then you begin to see tiny lights sparking around you, like fireflies or little tiny fireworks. And quieter still, that vision fades. And off in the distance appears a still candle flame. And you move towards it. You're calm and relaxed. And then all around you, surrounding you, is a pale moonlight, like the light of the full moon on a cloudless night. There's no light source. The light simply surrounds you. And that light fades and turns into a crimson ruby red. A soft, gentle light surrounding you. And that red light fades into complete darkness, the absence of light. And that absence of light, that darkness, fades as well. All appearances fade into themselves, into emptiness. Into pure crystalline diamond. And then take 3 long exhales. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. So that's a little bit different way to do that meditation. So we've been talking in this course all about the different all the different ways that you can become somebody. All the different ways that you can become any being simply based on your karma, simply based on how you've treated others in the past. And so we spend a lot more time in this course about who you can become. And so we've been describing all the different realms, all the different types of, we'll call them places that you can go. So today's class, okay, before I do that. So in that meditation, what we're visualizing is the death process that all of us go through. Like we're visualizing, like if you talk to people who've had near-death experiences, they report some of these hallucinations, okay, or visualizations, images that appear. And by understanding what that process is and what will happen, most of the time we have no capacity to experience it. It happens, but it happens very quickly. It happens amidst a fear of dying, right? And if you know what's going to happen and you practice it over and over and over again, there's a chance that you can maintain awareness throughout that process. And then you have a potential for something. Then you have the potential for moving into a direct experience of emptiness at the time of death. So that's pretty cool. Like take something normal that happens to us and turn it into something extraordinary, which is kind of what we're trying to do all the time. Trying to take what happens not as just normal life, but as an opportunity to practice, an opportunity to turn it into something different. And so by practicing this meditation over and over again, you then become familiar with it. So when this happens to you, and we don't know when, that's the fun part. We don't know when it's going to happen. Like, we don't know when death will come. Like yesterday, as we were flying out of Chicago, as we were taking off, a gust of wind hit the plane, and the plane went like this. And we were just off the ground. And I was like, and it just felt gentle. And I was like, oh my God, that wing almost hit the ground. Right? I was like, you know, the plane righted itself and carried on its merry way, of course, because I'm here today. But there was a moment that I was like, oh, wow, that could hit the ground. And then a whole bunch of things could happen right now that none of us were expecting. So you never know. You never know when it's going to happen to you. So getting prepared, getting your suitcase ready right now, you know, and I'm not, you know, and I'm not talking about like get your affairs in order, right? Get all those things in order too. But get your dharma in order, get your mind in order, get your heart in order. So yeah, there you go. Good luck. And just as a matter of preview, for those of you that care, this type of meditation becomes one of the foundational meditations of the Diamond Way, if anyone cares. And I know some of you care. And yes, it's not coffee yet because I ran out of time, but it does help drinking from a Superman cup. So, all right. So after you die, where can you go? That's what we've been talking about this entire course. You know, here you go. Death has happened, uncertainty, and the uncertain time and place and how. Right. And then it happens. And we've talked about all the different places. Today, we get to talk about the best place of all. The 8 hell realms and the 8 hot hell realms and the 8 cold hell realms, a place that everyone is dreaming of going. So we're going to talk about them so you guys can continue to dream on. And hopefully, after today's discussion, it might inspire you to have a different dream. Okay. So here we go. So in that moment after the dissolution, right, seeds will start asserting themselves again. Well, they're actually already always asserting themselves, but your next seed will come out. Right? And what being do you look down as? What being do you look at yourself as? Something like that. Some preposition in there. Who do you see yourself as? Okay. You might see yourself as a Bardo being, right? So as that Bardo being, you know, what do you see? Like, are you seeing a formless realm being? Are you seeing a form realm being? Are you seeing a human? Are you seeing an animal? You know, are you seeing a hungry ghost? What are you seeing? Right? So here's what it looks like to be born in the hell realms. All right. I've tried to make today fun. I was putting together some pictures for this. And I actually decided not to give you pictures because I want you to imagine what it's like. Like, what image appears in your mind when you think of these things? You know, and if we have had infinite lives and we've been doing this over and over and over again, you probably have experienced some of these things. I went on a little trip yesterday. I was reading about Dante's Inferno, which is a 3-part, well, the Divine Comedy is a 3-part poem, where he describes basically different levels of being, like paradise, purgatory, and the hell realms. And his descriptions of the hell realms are not very far off from the ones we're going to talk about today. So I went on a little trip yesterday reading about those. If anyone cares, if anyone wants to go read Dante's Inferno. Anyway, so in your reading, there's a whole lot of descriptions of where the hell realms are. And this comes from the Abhidharmakosha. And where are they? You know, there's a certain distance that they say they're from the surface of the earth, and certain places of how, you know, you can measure them and things like that. I'm not going to talk about them that way, because it's helpful for people to think that hell is a place. It's a place you go to. Like, we have an expression in English, I'll go to hell. Right? You know, the translation in the Spanish is not direct, but it's close. Like, you go to a shitty place. You're welcome, Spanish speakers. But it's like, go to hell. And, you know, from Monopoly, like, don't pass go directly to jail. Right? And it's not like, you know, these places, like, we think about it as, you know, Christian mythology talks about going down to hell and then going up to heaven. You know, the problem with hell and the problem with heaven is that it's not a place. It's not a place in the sky. It's not a place in the fiery realms in the center of the earth. Right? It's not a place you go to. It's where you are. You know, it's where you are right now. Like, the problem with it is that we think it's somewhere else. We think we're going somewhere. Right? Your perception shift. Your perception just shifts for a different reality. That's the last answer of your homework, by the way, if anyone cares. I was listening to a lot of different people on this last trip of how they encourage or motivate, twist arms, or force people to do their ACI homeworks. You know, and I meditated on it a lot. You know, we could, some teachers don't let you come to the next class until you have the homework done. Okay. Some teachers, you know, they create all of these different motivating factors to do the homework. And I was meditating on it and I'm thinking, you know, should I do that? Tracy's like, yes, please twist my arm. All right, Tracy, you're the only one. You can't come to the next class until you do your homework. And then there's the other part of me that just thinks, you know, if you understand the value of everything we're doing, you will do the homework. You know, you will continue to study. Whether you do it today or you do it next week or you do it in 5 years, or Tim says, oh, guess what? We're going to start doing Dalam soon. And in order to do Dalam, which is the path to bliss, which is the introduction to Tantra, maybe you should have the homework done. Okay. You know, and maybe that's not your goal. And that's okay too, right? Yes, I'll try to talk a little slower, but I get excited, Anna. So just try to catch up. So in my view is maybe I'll start encouraging. I don't know. We'll see. But I think if you're motivated enough by a class like today, maybe the homework is valuable. Maybe reviewing the work. They're not hard. You guys want to do some hard homeworks? You really want to get into Vajrayana? You really want to do it? They're 40 pages long. They're literally transcripts of the classes, okay? And you got to write it all out. So I don't want to hear any whining about the ACI courses. It's good for you. It's good for your mind. It's good for your heart, but do them, find someone to do them with, find someone to review them with. Obviously doing the homeworks is not the cause for you to be able to lay on your deathbed and do the dissolution for reals. Okay. But they could be. All right. They could be a cause. But the cause to be able to do that, it might be a little bit different. Maybe some renunciation might help. Okay. So here's a class on renunciation, a place that you do not want to go. So the first hot realm, the first hot hell realm, there's 8 of them. Okay. It's called Revive. All right. And it reminds me of the video games I used to play as a kid or in college. Like we used to play these games where we connected to the network, and basically we just ran around shooting each other, picking up guns, picking up different weapons. And then, forming teams, and some people shoot at you and blah, 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 right? And what happens in those video games is you get shot and you die, right? And then you come right back to life. Like the word we used was respawn. I'll put it in for translators. It's in the chat. Okay, you come back to life. Okay, you're running around, someone shoots you in the back. And then, blood splatters on the screen. Well, it usually just turned red, right? And then you just popped back up and started running around again. Okay. And that's kind of like this hell realm called Revive. Basically, there's a whole bunch of living beings around. And you wake up like you're reborn, right? You're just reborn. And you just have hatred of each other. And so you just run around killing each other. All right. And then once everyone's dead, okay, like a voice from the sky, like God calls out, a voice from the sky says, revive, respond, respawn, right? And then they all rise, right? They all get back up and then start again, right? So if you want to be stuck in a video game where all you're doing is running around killing each other, okay, that's the first hell realm, hot hell. I don't know why it's called a hot hell, because it's not really hot yet, but it's a kind of hell, I guess. Okay. If that one wasn't exciting enough for you, here's number 2. This one is called Lines of Black. Tiknuk. So basically, you're all hanging out in this realm, right? And these kind of guards or like sentries or something like that come around and they draw black lines on your body, right? You know, they just draw black lines all over your body. Yeah. That's not so bad. And then they come around and cut you on all the lines. They get out their swords, right? And they just slice you up. Like it's like, you know, when you you're trying to cut a piece of paper and you draw a line on it and you follow it with the scissors, right? It's kind of like that. And they all have all different kinds of cool weapons to slice you up. All right. How exciting is that? All right, if that wasn't enticing enough, the next one, the next more intense one is called, what is it called again? Dungeon. It's called Gather and Smash. Okay. And so what they do is they get all the beings and they bring them together into like one room. They bring them all together. They collect them. You know, I'm thinking of, you know, real life examples like when people are forced into a small valley and then they're attacked from above, right? You see it in the movies. And you can probably think of your other horrible examples that I don't even want to bring up, where people are gathered together and then murdered. Okay. But yeah, so they gather everyone together and then they smash them, right? Like big clubs, you know, or like anvils or rocks, and they just smash them. They smash them all down, you know, sort of like when you're cooking, right? And you're like, you have like the mortar and pestle and you're trying to make, you know, I'm trying to think what I would do in it, but you know, something in the dust. I'm not a cook, so I can't think of whatever to put in it right now, but you're kind of smashing it up, right? Right? You just turn them into dust. Okay. How do you guys feel? All right. The next one down, number 4. This one is called just basically screaming. Where all you hear around you are screams of beings because it's too hot. Like the other night I was at a fire. We had made a big fire outside. Had made dinner and then we were just sitting by it talking. And then all of a sudden a moth flew into the fire, was seared by the flame, flipped over and landed on a piece of wood upside down. And for a second, I thought that I heard it scream. Okay. Like, so imagine the sound of a being being burned. Okay. So that's that level. The next one is the same thing. Nongochempo, which means great hell, screaming hell. All right. So now it's a little bit hotter. Okay. And the screams are louder. the screams are more horrible. They're more terrifying. Like I kind of imagine the first one just being like walking through like a dungeon, like a torture dungeon. And you hear off in the distance, you hear like one person being tortured and screaming, right? This one's more like everyone is screaming, and they're screaming loud because it hurts and it's painful. Okay. So why am I thinking of these other examples? Like the other day I was in the grocery store buying lots of groceries. Flavia and I were there. And we walked by a tank of crabs, like big tank of water, right? And there was live crabs in them, right? And they're all like looking out like they have their eyes, right? And they're all crawling over each other. And I just couldn't handle it. I was just like, oh my God, you're going to be purchased and you're going to be put into boiling water. Okay. So think of it like a hell realm doesn't have to be something that's like, in the middle of the planet, right? The moth you could fly through something. You could be, your car could blow up, right? And you're surrounded by fire, right? But just imagine your life being like that. Okay. Okay. It keeps getting worse. The next one it's called Sawa, which is just called heat. Okay. Like imagine my dad used to be he was a specialist in coal, right? And so he was he worked for an energy company, and he specifically worked for the laboratories that measured all the different kind of chemical components of the coal. And then, what would happen when you heat it to certain temperatures, what compositions it would have, what kind of energy it would create or release, etc. Now, those ovens that they put the coal into get super hot. Okay. They're like 1,000 degrees centigrade, something ridiculous. Okay. So imagine all the beings being stuffed into an oven that's 1,000 degrees centigrade. Okay. That's a nice hell realm. That's glorious, right? Just being stuffed into incredible amounts of heat. Okay. And it doesn't even talk about that they scream. Like, it's probably so hot that you can't even scream. Right? Like the way they described those scientists, explorers, adventurers who were in that submarine that were going down to the Titanic. I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it in class. And the submarine just collapsed, right? The pressure, right? And they basically described the collapse of the submarine and the pressure that rushed in from the water from the outside basically incinerated the entire inside. Like it turned into, like, for a split second, like they compared it to the heat on the surface of the sun in a split second. They were just hanging out, like, we're going to the Titanic, and boom, fire everywhere, seared, right? No time to scream, right? Incinerated, right? That's what I imagine this one to be like. Okay. The next one is called Rabtutasawa, superheat. So instead of being 1,000 degrees centigrade, maybe it's 5,000. Okay. More and more being stuffed into these chambers and just burning at incredibly high temperatures. And now for our culmination, number 8, Narme, no respite. This is the worst one because you don't even get any kind of rest from the suffering. In the other ones, it's like at least you die and come back, like there's a space between living and dying, right? This is called no respite. You experience unlimited amounts of suffering in an unbreakable chain. All right. How's that? How do you guys feel now? Okay. It hurts, right? It hurts, right? And the thing is, when you think about like Dante's Inferno, how close it is to this description, to the Abhidharma's description. And if you really meditate on it, there's probably something in you that knows this, that recognizes this kind of suffering. So, yeah. Yeah. Another feature of the hell realms is that time passes differently. Where like, a morning coffee with friends here in Sedona might be 50,000 years in a hell realm. In each hell realm, it like takes longer and longer. Your experience of time is different. Okay. So that sounds like fun, even more fun. Not only do you have to experience it, but it takes longer to experience it. Okay. There was a question here about the hell guards, and this was a question that happened during Geshe-la's class as well. There's different debates, and actually it's in the reading as well, about whether the hell guard beings are living beings or not. And you can read it yourself. All right. And so, what happens, like, what is the, the big question that oftentimes comes up right now is like, well, what about people who don't seem to deserve it, right? Like, someone who goes through tremendous amount of suffering, a child, for example, a child is brought onto the planet, right? Born into a certain family or a certain place or a certain time. And then they experience these horrendous sufferings. Like, what about that moth, right? That moth that landed on the fire 3 nights ago. Right? What did that moth do to experience a shift in their perception so that all of a sudden it's a cool evening on the North Sea with the wind blowing at a comfortable 15 degrees Celsius? Okay. And then flying into flames at probably, I don't know, 150 degrees Celsius. I don't know how hot that fire was. It was pretty damn hot. All right. And then all of a sudden it went from, hey, I'm chilling out, to searing pain. Okay, what did it do? It didn't do anything in this life. Right? It didn't, and the shift of our perceptions, like, to be in an area that's peaceful and then war starts, or that your peoples get rounded up and taken to concentration camps, right? How's that possible? Are they bad in this life? No, that's not the case. We just have so many seeds that are just chilling out there that we have no control of what's happening. We really don't. And that's why when we talk in the next two classes about the qualities of death, about death being certain, that it will happen. We don't know when, we don't know how. And all that comes with that. That's why we need to prepare now. I mean, someone could walk in the door right now. They could walk in the door right now and shoot me in the back. And you guys could watch it. Okay, you don't want to watch that. We hope that doesn't happen, right? But it's a possibility. So how are you prepared for that next experience? How would you be prepared to move through that? I honestly don't know. I've practiced this a lot. If someone walked in that door right now and shot me, could I even guarantee that I would be able to go into a state of meditation to relax enough to go through that process while I'm laying on the floor and my blood is just gushing out, right? Okay, I know this is horrible. It's horrible to use these images, but I'm trying to make a point, right? The only thing we have is our Dharma practice. That hopefully that's a good question. Julia has a good question. The answer Julia is asking, is there some kind of organized plan, or is everything just like the lottery? Well, yes, there's a plan, and yes, it's a lottery. It's a lottery within a plan. And what I mean by that is there are certain priorities or ways in which certain types of karmas can ripen in different orders based on how you planted the seed, what kind of motivation you used, how close is it to your own death, kinds of things like that. I'll do some, if we have time in the next two classes, I'll bring that up because it's a good question, right? And we use those things specifically in our 4-step plans, in our karmic, in the way that we think about how we treat others, the things that we do, the things we bring together, to then put certain things into play versus other things. All right. And that's why keeping the bodhisattva vows, which we did in course 7. That's why keeping your morality is so important. I had a weird experience, and I kind of attributed it to this. It was during the last event, and it was early in the morning. I got up and I was still jet lagged a little bit, and I was brushing my teeth, and I turned on the water. In the morning, you can't see anyway. I don't wear my glasses in the morning. I've actually started wearing my glasses because of this, to check things out. But I'm just hanging out there, eyes half open. And I turned on the water and there was a bug in the sink. And I tried to because then the water picked it up and started swirling around and I tried to grab it, but my reflexes weren't fast enough. And it went down the drain, right? And I had this deep experience with this. I was like, oh shit, I just unmindfully brushed my teeth and killed a living being, right? Because it goes in the drain, and once it's in the drain, it's done, right? And I did the 4 powers really quickly. I tried anyway. But I had this weird feeling I was going to have to experience the result of this. It was really bizarre. That's never experienced. I've never had that experience before. And the way that it experienced it for the bug was like the bug's just hanging out doing its bug things. All of a sudden, out of nowhere comes, just imagine, comes like a tsunami, right? A flood. And then, no time to react, gets picked up in the water and then just gets carried away, right? And strangely, it was the next day, I was talking to someone, just relaxed, having a Dharma conversation. And out of nowhere, I felt a sharp pain in my back that consumed my entire body. And as this was happening, I thought about the bug. It was this weird, immediate moment that I was like, oh, I wonder if this is a similar experience to what that bug experienced. Same karma, I don't know. I can't tell you what karma was planted and when that ripened as the back pain. But I had this immediate moment of oh, I just did that yesterday and now I'm experiencing it much larger today. You see. So in terms of priority, I mean, would I have preferred that I didn't have tremendous back pain for 2 days? For no reason at all? It was a no reason at all moment. It wasn't oh, I bent over wrong, or, oh, I did something. No, it just, for no reason at all, just consumed my entire body. I think a lot of other things happened too. But yeah, so I'll do some preparations. That's a great question. And we'll talk about it in the next class. I just want to make sure I have it right before I spurt it out to you guys. All right, there's 8 hell realms, hot hells, yay. Now, next to the 4 hot realms, next to the 8 hot hell realms, there's some adjacent ones, right? They're not as bad, okay? They have names like Embers and Corpse Rot and Razor Road, Uncrossable River. Okay. What happens in some of these? Okay. You're walking, right? And every time you step, you're stepping on razors and they pierce your feet. Then you pick up your foot and your foot regenerates. And then you have to put your foot back down onto the razor, right? Razor road. So no matter what you do, you're standing on, sharp knives, like a bed of nails everywhere. Or another one that you're probably running on razors and you're being chased by, scary beasts. And you go, oh, there's a forest. So you run quickly to the forest so you could climb a tree. And then as you're climbing the tree, there's razors on the trees. So as you're like trying to climb, like they rip through your skin, right? Then when you finally get to the top and you think it's okay, there's like big birds that like eat your eyes, and then pull them out. And you're like, well, this sucks. And so you try to climb back down the tree, and the razors on the trees turn the other direction. So then you're being ripped as you're climbing down. That sounds like fun. Or one that where you're walking, it's like you walk into like hot coals and your feet burn, and you take your foot out and your foot comes back, regenerates. So it's similar to the razors, except it's searing heat. Okay. These are all places that your karma can take you. It's super exciting. All right. So we just talked about the 8 hot hells. What about the 8 cold hells? Maybe you don't mind the heat so much. So you got to go to a cold hot hell, a cold hell realm, excuse me. So like you're standing in a barren field, a barren ice planet. Okay. You're just standing there. You're naked. The wind is blowing. Okay. And all you can do is find other beings and then huddle together to try to warm up. And then each successive cold realm gets colder and colder, and the suffering gets worse and worse. Like the one you're just cold in, and then another one is that your skin begins to blister, and then as it gets colder, then the blisters open up, or then your body cracks. Like, have you seen the movies, like if you freeze somebody, like in a superhero movie, you freeze them, and then you like tap them, and then they shatter into glass, right? Stuff like that. I think a lot of these movies and a lot of these ideas come from people's experiences. Like they remember these places. Okay. So if the hot hell isn't good enough for you, you can go to a cold hell. I don't know which is worse. It doesn't say. So the suffering is still nasty. Right. And then there's this thing called, this is all Abhidharma, okay? Partial hells. And these kind of things can be like, they say, are particularly bad places within our own realm. Right. And this is where we talk about like, I kind of imagine these things like where you have an instant where you're in a submarine and it blows up, it implodes, and then searing heat, or people are rounded up and put in concentration camps, right? Or any of these things that you experience as a human, but you experience like a hell realm being would experience it. Like the jet fuel on your plane explodes while you're midair. Okay. You can think of probably your own examples. I don't want to think too many of them, but you can think of your own examples. Like a moth flying through a bonfire, a fire, right? Where you're just hanging out. It's warming me up. It's kind of chilly, and it kills the moth, right? So the question that appeared here from the Venerable Barbara is, what kind of karmas put you in these places? Well, it depends how powerful and how frequent and how malicious you are when you plant your karmic seeds. Yesterday it was this, I felt like I entered into a kind of a partial hell realm yesterday in Chicago O'Hare Airport. If you've ever been through that airport, it is like, I never want to go back. First of all, you plane lands, and I measured it, 1.2 miles. How far is that? 3 kilometers from the airplane, just from the airplane to get to customs. Okay. All these people are running because they have another flight to get to, because we were a little bit late. Hey, hon. So once we get there, it felt like we were packed into this one small room. I'm like, you just made me walk 3 kilometers, okay? And now you're going to put me in a small ass room? Like, come on, right? So now we're in this small room trying to get our passports looked at, right? Then the internet went down. So all of our, then all of our like electronic, like AI and, scary shit that they can do on the computer by just looking at your face, that system went down. All right. So now we're waiting, I'm supposed to be in the fast line, right? Because I got the karma to be in the fast line. And now I'm just sitting there waiting for the internet to come back up so they can let me back in my own country. All right. So we finally get through that. And now we have to collect our luggage, right? Because you have to collect your luggage when you enter the country. I had one good thing happen. Some guy, I don't know why he thought I needed help, but he picked up all my luggage for me, all of JB's and all of Connie's luggage. There's a point to this. So that was really nice. Connie, JB and Connie, who didn't get the fast line, show up eventually. Then we're all like, we have to go to the bathroom because it's been like 30 minutes since we got off the plane. So go to these bathrooms, and these bathrooms were so disgusting. I'm like, what is wrong with this country? I'm like, and it was disgusting. Connie didn't even use it. Like, I tried not to touch anything, right? It was like, I used paper towels to open the door. It was disgusting, right? So we walk out finally with all of our luggage. And then the place where you drop off the luggage was broken. Okay. So we couldn't drop the luggage off. Hey, you're all laughing. Just wait till you go through this particular airport hell realm. Okay. So now we have all this luggage because we were doing a Vajrayana initiation. Okay. We have all this stuff with us. And so now we have to take the luggage from there to a total different terminal and recheck in. And there's no one to help. And all the employees are grumpy. They're yelling at us. They yelled at me because they said, "Can you read the sign? It says go there." And I'm like, yeah, but I got all this luggage. And they said, well, it doesn't work. You have to go over. And they gave me the wrong directions. Okay. Okay. So keep in mind. So now the stress level is going up a little bit, right? And I'm trying to remain calm. I'm with the teachers. I'm like, okay, we're just purifying some bullshit. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. So then we can't get up the escalator because we have too many luggages, right? And there's too many people. Trinity, I love you, but I'm talking about a hell realm. So then we have to go up the elevator. And for some reason, the elevators for one floor is the slowest freaking elevator ever to move people. It's like 5 minutes between opening and closing, right? So finally, we get up to the next level, which has where the train is to go to the next terminal. get on the train after having to wait for 2 trains because there's so many people. All right, I love you, but you got to go. Get on the train finally. Now we're on the way. Okay, phew, we're gonna make it. By the way, we only have 5 more minutes before check-in closes, right? So we're getting off now this is the point of my story. So now we're getting off the train. It was a little bit stressful. I'm trying to relax. It felt like a New York subway, right? Everyone's packed in. It probably is like if they had only turned on the heat, then it would have been at one of the hell realms. Okay. That's how packed in we were in this train. So the guy behind me starts pushing when the door is about to open. And I'm like, okay, this guy's in a rush. So I tried to move over to the side. And I couldn't move enough to let him get by. So I looked at him like, we got to wait for the door. So the door opens and I kind of try to get out so he can get by because he's in a hurry. The guy's so in a hurry that he was willing to hurt me to get to his plane on time. He ran into me and then his luggage like smashed into my ankle and then it rolled over my foot. Okay. All the wheels over my foot, right? And I just stood there like I had so many things come to my mind that I could say to this guy, right? And all I could think was, oh my God, you are willing to hurt somebody else to get to an airplane. And my ankle hurts right now because he smashed it. But I was like, I was trying to do a good thing. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to move out of the way. I was trying to be like, hey, here you go. Right. Of course, the seeds are not related. And so, but I was just thinking, that's the kind of stuff that can take you to a hell realm. Completely selfish and willing and open to helping and hurting other people to get something you need. He was willing to hurt me to get something he needed. So if those seeds keep going, he didn't even turn around. He didn't apologize. He didn't realize. I'd like to pretend that he was running down the escalator and realized that he had hit me and done that to me and then felt bad about it. I'd like to pretend that. So yeah, in some way, yes, it was a purification of my own seeds, right? I got put into a mild hell realm to purify some crappy seeds to make sure I wasn't replanting them, right? And I was just mainly relaxed. I'm just walking through, I'm not going to run through an airport. I know. And just trying to help out as many people as I can, right? The question, Shanti, is like, what do I mean the seeds aren't related? Just because I tried to get out of the way to help him, that was a good seed. I was trying to help him so he could get off the train faster so he could get to his plane. But me helping him was not related to the seed ripening of him running me over. Those are 2 different things. So the seed of helping him will ripen in the future in some way. Right. So, but I think that kind of situation where you're willing to hurt someone. I like Tracy, what she thought, like she's trying to come up with a reason why the guy was running. And those are great things to come to mind, right? That help you with your own mind around it. Right. No one wants to be told to chill out when they're running to a plane. Exactly. You know, and I want to say one thing is like, just because we say that these things are coming from our seeds doesn't mean that we should accept them that they are. And what I mean by that is someone had said that they were abused by their ex-lover. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you, and it's painful, right? But don't use seeds as an excuse to keep suffering. And what I mean is, if you're in a bad situation, get out. Like, if someone's abusing you, get out of it. Like, find resources, find help. Don't just say, these are my bad seeds. Yes, they are your bad seeds. But don't stay. Like, that's... Anyway. Thanks for the heavy class, guys. Thank you, Geshe Michael. So really the main point of this class, these are all the places you could go to if your seeds ripen that way. And so what kind of things can we do, right? What can we do to backpedal out of that, to make sure it doesn't happen? Do your homework. Nice, Julia. You just won. That's a $50 answer to a $0 question. Send me your PayPal. Do your homework. Yes. But it's learn how to treat people well. Learn to understand your bodhisattva vows. Learn to understand your own mind. Learn to understand how your mind could shift its perception in a single moment and become a hell realm. And on the other side, what if you had different seeds that in a single instant you shifted into an entire paradise? You see, it's possible. Both ways are possible. But which one do you want to create? If you're just so excited about the lines of black and having someone draw black lines on you and cut you up into small pieces, or you're so excited about running through forests of razors, then just go to Chicago O'Hare Airport and just push people out of the way running to your plane. Run them over and don't care about it. Or the one thing that comes to mind for me is recognizing the things that I do that are like the guy in the airport, but are much smaller. What small ways do I just hurt people to get what I want? Then you got to get creative. You got to really think, what small things do I do that hurt people? Not as obvious as smashing into you and running over your ankle with a luggage, right? Okay, that's one way. But what small things do you do? Like, do you go into the bathroom now and put on your glasses and check out the sink and the tub before you turn on the water? Right? I always check the tub. Now I check the sink. Right? But don't go insane about it either. Like, don't get so OCD about it, right? That you can't live your life. But just become more and more aware of the things that you do like watch the ants, watch where your feet go when you walk. Don't step on the ants, which is incidentally the picture for this course. We'll talk about that question, Yasheng, in another class. Like, what if you've done things already? We'll talk about that. That's what I'm going to talk about in the next 2 classes, about how to plant seeds, to prioritize them, to get them to come to the front of the line so that you can start making changes faster. Okay. So you can make correlations between your actions today and the results you experience. And then what do you do? Like, what do you do with all of this stuff? Like, why did I go into a mini hell realm when I landed back in the United States after such a beautiful 3.5 weeks in France and Denmark, doing beautiful, beautiful practices? Why did I arrive back in a mini hell realm? Okay. Why did those seeds happen? Cool. All right. Keep practicing that meditation, please. You can make it one of your primary practices, for sure. Our next class is August 8th, or excuse me, August 12th. That will be Saturday morning, I believe. Let me just make sure it's Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday at 6 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, translators. Thank you, all of you who are recording. Thank you, Romania, for coming. Thank you, Anna, for translating. Thank you, Flavia, for coming, joining us from Romania. Yeah, and we'll see you on Saturday morning. Turn on your microphones and let's say goodbye.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Tim. Thanks.
Tim.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Tschüss.
Bye.
Mulțumesc.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye. 谢谢 Tim 老师，谢谢大家一起学
谢谢
习。
Tim 老师，谢谢大家。
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for, thanks for surviving, O'Hara. We love you.
Yes. Anna, I heard a rumor that you're coming to Sedona for SAIM. Cool. I have never finished class on time. Thank you very much. Peace. Have a good day, everyone. See you soon.